Los Angeles Dodgers come into this game off a 3-1 series victory over the Braves, where they showcased tons of power and dominant pitching. The four-man rotation of Ryu, Kershaw, Buehler, and Hill all had great performances other than one rocky inning from Buehler in Game 3, where he gave up a 2-out grand slam to Ronald Acuna. The Dodgers are going to face a much more potent lineup against the Brewers, but if this past series is any indication of how the pitching will perform in the upcoming series, the Brewers will have their hands full trying to keep pace with a powerful Dodgers lineup. My key player for the Dodgers in the NLCS is Kenley Jansen. Although Jansen was strong against the Braves, he pitched in relatively low-pressure situations with a 3-run lead in Game 2 and a 4-run lead in Game 4. My anticipation for the upcoming series is that the games will be much closer, and with Jansen being the most trusted arm out of the bullpen, he will be put into more high-leverage situations with the game on the line. Not that he's never done it before, because he absolutely has, but the way the starters have been going, the passing of the torch in the late innings against a rolling Brewers team will be the deciding factor on whether or not the Dodgers go to their second straight World Series. The Milwaukee Brewers keep their amazing streak of 11 straight wins alive after a sweep of the Rockies in the divisional round. To no surprise, the Brewers were led by their dominant pitching, allowing the Rockies to score only 2 runs all series. Key arms Josh Hader, Jeremy Jeffress, Joakim Soria, and Corey Knebel pitched in all 3 games, perhaps establishing themselves as manager Craig Counsell's most trusted arms. National League MVP candidate Christian Yelich continues to pace this offense, but the Brewers had some great games from other guys like Ryan Braun, Mike Moustakas, and Eric Kratz. The Brewers will face a much tougher opponent in the Dodgers, a team that beat them 4-3 in the season series, including the final game where the Dodgers put up 21 runs. My key player for the Brewers is Wade Miley. Miley had a terrific 2 starts against the Dodgers in the regular season, where he pitched a combined 13 innings, allowing only 6 hits and no runs. He's quietly been a dominant starter for the Brewers all season, and considering the solid numbers he has against the Dodgers and the fact that he's well rested, look for Miley to pitch in at least 2 games this series, including a potential Game 1 start matching up against fellow lefty Clayton Kershaw. My pick for the National League champions is the Dodgers. It's hard to pick against a hot team like the Brewers, who are clicking on all cylinders at the perfect time, but momentum is hard to carry over from game to game in baseball, let alone series to series. The confidence, though, of this Brewers team is real, but the Dodgers are a better overall team in my eyes. Both offenses have sluggers throughout and deep benches with the ability to match up, but the glaring difference between the 2 teams is the starting pitching. And although the Brewers have a lethal set of relievers, it might not matter if the Dodgers can jump out to early leads. The Houston Astros showcase just how dominant of a team they can be when their lineup and pitching is rolling at the same time. The Astros swept the Indians, winning each game in convincing fashion, including the final game where they scored 10 runs in the final 3 innings. Everybody knows how dominant the Astros pitching is, led by veterans Justin Verlander and Garrett Cole, but the Astros offense this series against a more than capable Indians pitching staff was dominant. This lineup is reminiscent of the team from last year, where they were given the term dynasty, and rightfully so. Heading into the series versus Boston, the Astros are going to face less quality pitchers overall, but perhaps will face their toughest challenge of the season against Red Sox ace Chris Sale. The Astros pitching also faces a big challenge, trying to slow down the number 1 ranked Red Sox offense. My key player for the Astros is George Springer. The reigning World Series MVP returned to form in the divisional round, collecting 6 hits, including 3 home runs. Batting from his usual leadoff spot, Springer is licking his chops at the potential of facing 3 lefty starters from the Red Sox rotation this series. Springer will be counted on to set the tone not only with his play on the field, but also with his high-strung personality and energy, which this Astros team seems to thrive off of. The Boston Red Sox handled their business against rival foe Yankees, winning the series in 4 games and closing out in New York, which I'm sure just made it that much sweeter. Chris Sale led Boston to a Game 1 win, which was followed by a terrible Game 2 performance by David Price, where he was booed off the field at Fenway. The Red Sox bounced back in a dominant Game 3 performance, led by a strong 7-inning start from Nathan Eovaldi, and poured in 16 runs as well. To no surprise, the Red Sox continue to showcase why they led the league in wins. However, David Price's Game 2 performance is a cause for concern. He continues to struggle in the postseason and just can't seem to put it together. And without a confident David Price, the Red Sox will have to make a decision on whether or not they want to transition Price into a bullpen role, especially considering that the Astros feast on left-handed pitching. With that being said, my key player for the Red Sox is Rick Porcello. The former Cy Young Award winner may be the one to carry more weight heading into the series against the Astros. He is no stranger to the playoffs, and while he hasn't had any dominant performances in his postseason career, he showed a lot of poise on the mound in the closeout game versus the Yankees and might be a more trustworthy option to start Game 2 behind Chris Sale. My pick for the American League champions is the Astros. Their starting pitching has just been too strong to go against, and the way the offense rolled last series makes them the scariest team left in postseason contention. The Red Sox have enough bats to keep them in games, but ultimately I feel more confident banking on solid starting pitching and more recently the Astros' hot bats. Usually the manager matchup is not a huge factor for me, but I feel much more confident in Astros skipper AJ Hinch. Red Sox first-year manager Alex Cora has never faced any tough spots this season and never had his back against the wall. Credit to him for rolling through the season, but I'll take AJ Hinch and the experience of this Astros team to head to the World Series in a rematch against the Dodgers.